Greetings, YouTube. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but the FDA has recently authorized the Pfizer Corporation that their Pfizer vaccine to be delivered to children between the ages of 5 and 11, which means that parents who now want their kids to be vaccinated against COVID can do so. And the dosage they're getting is a third of an adult size, so it's a fairly small quantity, which means that the vaccine supply we have will go a lot further, which means they'll be able to get kids vaccinated faster because there's just more vaccine out there available for them. Also, some people are lining up for boosters. I have not applied for a booster at this point. I will be waiting a little bit because I have to have a vaccine in December for shingles, and so I can't have a vaccine before then, and then I have to wait a certain amount of time after that before I can get the booster. So I will be eventually applying for it because I definitely want the booster vaccine. I'm probably going to go with the Pfizer myself because I had the Moderna for the first 2 shots, and I'd like to mix it up a little. But because of this availability now, there are lots of parents out there who are in the anti-vaxxer crowd who are already gearing up for the fight because they're afraid that there will be a mandate. Now, there should be a mandate. There, in fact, should be a mandate for every single person in the United States of America without exception. That you should have to have the vaccine against COVID, period. The only exception being medical necessity. And there are people who can't have them, but that number is incredibly tiny. But everybody else should be required to have a vaccine. I don't give a fuck about your freedoms. Your freedoms don't mean anything if you are dead. And in the process, you could kill other people. For example, children who until now couldn't get a vaccine. So now these kids can. So that gives us hope that the number of cases that are being spread in schools, and sometimes they are large, will be far smaller, which means you will have to have far fewer kids being isolated at home while they recover. Even if they end up with an asymptomatic case, they could still spread it to other kids. And that's dangerous because, again, you're always going to have the chance of hitting somebody whose immune system can't fight it, and they're going to end up having to be hospitalized or put onto a ventilator or die. And in America, heavy hospital bills can cripple a family. Now, I realize with the COVID that some of that is covered, at least was. But in some places in America, that is not true, that they're no longer giving any kind of exemptions for those COVID treatments now that the vaccines are available. So the insurance companies are saying, well, you could have gotten the vaccine and you didn't, so we're not going to cover that, so you're on your own. And that kind of a medical bill could cripple a family, literally drive them into bankruptcy. 600,000 Americans a year are driven into bankruptcy because of medical bills. No other developing nation in the world has that problem. None. There is zero number of bankruptcies in the world for medical bills except the United States of America when it comes to the developed nations. Because we are goddamn barbarians in this country. So I know that the anti-vaxxers are gearing up. They're ready. They're on the front lines to fight this desire to save their children's lives. And if you think these vaccines are dangerous, you don't know enough about them to make that decision. I'm telling you. If you think RNA and DNA interact, you don't know enough. If you look at a long list of complex chemical names and think, that's horrible, go look at the ingredients of an apple. Because that's been used to show how stupid anti-vaxxers are. Someone listed all of the chemicals in an apple and said, would you put this into your body? And an anti-vaxxer said, of course not. And the person replied, that was the chemical makeup of an apple. Big words are scary, but if you don't know what those big words are, they're even scarier. And if you're just scared because they're big words, you're ignorant. And if you're not willing to get yourself informed from actual scientific sources, you're dangerously ignorant. And anti-vaxxers are dangerously ignorant. The only thing they seem to know how to do is spread disinformation and misinformation to scare people into not taking medically necessary steps to protect themselves and the people around them, protect their communities. I 100% support a mandate for every single person to have a vaccine. I support every business from firing any employee that doesn't get one. I support every municipal group out there that wants to fire cops or firemen or dishonorably discharged members of the military who don't get vaccines. We don't need plague rats. Go home, stay home, don't ever come back out. The world will move on without you. You will be forgotten. I'm sick of you assholes dictating what the rest of us have to do and how the rest of us have to live our lives. You're killing people. And now the anti-vaxxers have a new fight where they get to defend their children, when in actuality they are doing everything in their power to kill their own children. And that will be lost on them, which is terrifying in and of itself. People desperately terrified that a vaccine will kill their kids will actually kill their kids by not getting their kids vaccinated. And they will never, ever see the irony in that, which is terrifying and sad.